Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whenever you're listening in, this is your sales enabler, Sundar Nathan. The topic of conversation today is the enterprise B2B sales cycle. Some of the questions that we'll answer today include: who are the players that engage in the different stages of the enterprise B2B sales cycle? What does the sales cycle look like? What are the stages of that sales cycle? What are the roles and responsibilities of each of the individual participants, whether it's from the company's perspective or from the customer's perspective? What does each individual need to say, show, and send at each stage of the cycle to the customer and receive from the customer? And finally, the goals and objectives, the outcomes of each stage of the cycle. So let's start by just defining what an enterprise sales cycle is. When it comes to a technology industry, when you're selling hardware, software, networking solutions, SaaS solutions, software as a service solutions, to Fortune 1000, Fortune 5000 customers. Now, in the enterprise, typically in large companies, they're composed of multiple divisions. They have a lot of moving parts in terms of roles and responsibilities within those divisions. Different folks that are responsible for evaluating vendors and giving their input as part of the sales cycle. So typically there are multiple decision makers. For example, in selling a solution to IT, such as a virtualization solution for software, the CIO might be involved, the director of IT might be involved, the DBA might be involved, the IT systems manager might be involved. So you have multiple participants, multiple stakeholders that are involved. Now, the stages of the sales cycle, put simply, you start off with prospecting. From prospecting, you go to qualification. From qualification, you go to a demo. From a demo, you proceed forward to a proposal. Now, if all goes well, then the customer engages with you and is ready to evaluate your proposal and give you feedback, and additionally work with you to then design the solution that they really need. Then they will move forward with a negotiation. And finally, you bring the deal to closure. And this is where the money is. So what are each of these stages? What is prospecting? Prospecting is nothing but the act of reaching out to a client, to a prospect, to somebody who has not received a message from you before, and engaging with them. Whether it's on the phone, whether it's through email, whether it's through social media, or a meeting. Typically, software companies in enterprise B2B software and solutions have inside sales folks, what we call sales development representatives. These are typically folks with a couple of years experience whom we can train to really get on the phones, be able to send out emails, be able to engage with clients on social media or prospects, and get their attention. And the goal of this initial call is to essentially get their attention and secure some time with them to further qualify them. So what is a day in the life of a sales development representative, an inside salesperson? Well, a day in the life of an inside salesperson would be sending out emails, for example, 200 to 300 emails a day, targeted emails targeted to specific buyer personas within the client. Another approach would be to make 50 to 75 phone calls. And these phone calls will be made to specific constituencies, both within the customer type as well as the customer persona. In other words, specific verticals that need the solution that the software company is selling. So if we take an example of a software company that makes a software virtualization product, and they are selling to the IT department of large Fortune 1000 companies, the goal of the sales development representative who is picking up the phone, making the phone call, is to secure some time with the director of IT, a CIO, a DBA, an IT systems administrator, etc., to then sit down with them and understand if the solution, the software virtualization solution that is being sold, resonates with that customer, and that customer has a need for that particular solution. And that's the next stage, which is the qualification stage. So we've gone from prospecting to qualification. Now, what does the qualification stage look like? Well, in qualification stage, typically, the sales development representative will involve an account executive. An account executive who has that particular prospect or customer as part of either their geographical territory or part of their vertical territory. So this qualification meeting ideally could be conducted over the phone, it could be conducted over a web meeting or in person. But the goal is to determine if there is a fit between what the client needs in terms of their specific pain and what the solution that is being provided by the company fits that need. So essentially, this qualification meeting might consist of a conversation where both the sales development representative and the account executive are asking specific questions related to uncovering or discovering the customer's pain. This is a discovery process. And what you really want to do is drill down and find out more about the customer's business goals and objectives, their key performance indicators in terms of what they're individually supposed to deliver in a given year or 6-month period. You also want to find out what solutions and products they already use in the context of what your solution provides. You also want to find out if there's a budget for this. And there are specific approaches to the discovery process. You want to find out 4 major things. If there's a budget, if there's an authority figure or somebody who can convey that particular authority to buy the particular solution that you're selling, if there is a need for the solution, and finally, what is the timing? When are they going to buy? So when you look at these 4 components, B-A-N-T, or BANT, what BANT refers to is the 4 components of qualification, which would be budget, authority, need, and timing. You want to make sure all these 4 components at a minimum exist in that particular prospect. And then you can get into how your solution satisfies the need that has been expressed. Now let's talk about the demo stage, which is the 3rd stage in this particular sales cycle. The demo stage is where you would really, after understanding the needs of the customer by drilling down into their business processes, into their IT environment, into their IT processes, and their existing solutions, what you would like to do is develop a very customized demonstration or a trial, even a live solution using the client's data. And if that's possible, what you would like to do is then set up a time with the key decision makers within the customer's environment to then secure them to come to the demo, and then you can show them how your solution meets their particular need. The next stage is the proposal stage, and this is where you would actually put a proposal in front of a client. So if you're selling for example, a software virtualization solution, your proposal could include components such as defining the need, on the agreed need at the client. You also want to make sure that you share what has been already discussed and shown in the demo. And then in the proposal itself, what the solution is to the need and to the feedback, the pain that the client has expressed to you. And in that proposal would also be an analysis of their environment, of their IT infrastructure, and how you will fit into that IT infrastructure, how you will integrate into that IT infrastructure. You'll also have some commercials there in terms of a quote of what your products and services will cost. The next stage is the negotiation stage. And in the negotiation stage, really what you start to do is to have a detailed conversation about the components, the value that you offer. And here you want to really express the business value that is being offered and talk to the client and understand from the client how much they're willing to pay. And at some level, you want to make sure that you're communicating the real value of your solution. And possibly at this stage, you might offer a discount or additional services at a lower cost to the customer in order to secure the contract. And finally, the close stage is And obviously during the negotiation stage, just to back up, your legal team might be involved with the legal team of the client, et cetera, and the purchasing and procurement team of the client. And finally, closure. And this really means that the client has inked the contract, and you have now a contract with that is payable in certain intervals. If it's a SaaS solution, maybe it's payable monthly, and if it's an on-premise solution with a upfront pricing model, then you get paid upfront, and then this really flows into customer success. So what you want to do is to hand off, and broadly I would say customer services and success. You might have a consulting organization that engages with the client, that takes over from the sales team and helps the client achieve success. So that's the enterprise B2B sales cycle in a nutshell. And now what I'd like to talk to you about is the prospecting stage, and talk about the roles and responsibilities in more detail.